And so I did a review earlier, and your instructor asked me to have like two different times, and I never know which is going to be the better time. But I did record the previous meeting, so if there's something I missed or something like that, or something you need additional help on, you just know that I did record that, so there might be some overlap, but I'm gonna just treat it as if like I would treat any kind of review, where I just gonna kind of do the exact same thing as I did earlier, with the focus on what's kind of the new stuff. Um, so what I have here is the blueprint. You are required to know the same stuff you had to know for 110. You need to know your metric to metric conversions, your household to metric conversions, how to convert pounds to kilograms. You need to know how to, take a patient's intake of fluids, convert those cups, quarts, pints into ounces and into milliliters, and then get a total ml calculation. You need to know how to do your oral based medications, so how to calculate for tablets, capsules, milliliters. You need to know how to calculate for your parenteral injectable medications. Again, that's milliliters unless we're talking insulin, and that's units. You need to know how to read a sliding scale, how to add the insulin units together. And remember, when you're administering insulin, insulin is given in units. Most everything else is given in milliliters, but insulin is given in units. The thing that's new for you this semester is the IV flow rate, so I'll go through those in just a moment. Reconstitution, though, you should already know those questions, but we can go through those if we need to practice any of those. But those are just the ones that you're basically calculating milliliters, but you have to look at the label to find out what the concentration or the strength of the medication is. And then when they say complex dosage calc problems, what they mean there is like it's a multi-step problem. So a lot of times it just means taking a patient's weight in pounds, converting it to kilograms, and then multiplying by an order that is listed as milligrams per kilogram. Just so you know how um, to calculate that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up the review that I have for you guys. Um, so in this review, there's just a variety of questions. This is on the OneDrive shared folder. I don't know what kind of review you guys have on your own, but I do want to spend some time just talking about the flow rate stuff because that's new. You saw it probably in ATI, but I'll start with the flow rate stuff, and then if we have more questions, we'll kind of go from there. So I'll start off with doing introducing flow rate, just because that is new to this semester as far as the tests this test is concerned. So when we say flow rate, what we're talking about is some volume over some time. And usually that volume is milliliters and the time is hours. But it can also be um, drops per minute. And I'll go over a couple examples of that in just a little bit. So when you're calculating these, they are just as simple as organizing the material. The trick for you, because at Boyce, they're not going to tell you specifically outright, make sure you do this calculation, make sure you set your infusion pump to this. You need to know that you're looking for milliliters per hour. So, like, that's the thing that you're not going to be given, and that's the challenge, right? Just like they'll tell you what would you give the patient, you need to know you give them tablets, capsules, milliliters. So, same thing for your infusion rate. So, all you're going to do is you're going to take your volume, the 400 milliliters, over the time, 5 hours, and then you're just going to reduce that to get an answer for this. So let me just plug that into my calculator. So 400 divided by 5 is 80. So your answer for this particular question would be 80 milliliters per hour. And that's what you would set your infusion pump to. So what I did for the earlier review is I asked them to go ahead and solve this, and let's just make sure you're able to get the same answer I would get. And you can just put your answer into the chat, or if you want to unmute, that's whatever's easiest for you. But I just want to make sure you know how to calculate ml per hour.
Are you wanting us to do the one you just did or the next one? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, go ahead and do this one, because that's a blank one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Just to make sure you can do it. So,
I got 133.3.
good. Yeah. And you did that right. You rounded to the nearest tenth.
Okay.
But yeah, you should get 133.3. I don't think you're going to get an answer like that on your actual test, but it's good practice for rounding to the nearest tenth. Um, so I don't know that your instructor would want you to just put 133 ml per hour. I do think that they want that decimal in there. I'm not 100% sure, but my assumption is like you'll get something like 200 milliliters in 2 hours, and so your answer is just 100 mil per hour, so you won't have to worry about it in that regard. So just so you know, that as far as when you're doing those calculations, but both of you got that right, so good job. All right. The next thing that they're going to ask you is they're going to want you to apply your understanding of flow rate to calculating a how long something will run for. Okay. And the kind of the analogy I used earlier today was if this is a distance and this is a speed, most people have no problem doing that. If I said you need to travel 100 miles and you're going 50 miles per hour, how long is it going to take you to get to your destination? Most people are like, oh, it'll take me 2 hours, because 50 for the first hour, 50 for the second hour, for a total of 100 miles, 2 hours, assuming I'm driving that same rate of speed. This is no different. Sometimes it does get a little bit challenging because you're trying to, not miss a question, but a lot of it is just understanding how to kind of arrange it and how to rationalize it. So if I'm looking at this, if I know I'm going to do 100 milliliters in the first hour, 100 milliliters in the second hour, and then the remaining 50 milliliters, that's going to be about a half an hour. So you can rationalize and be like, okay, this will take 2.5 hours, which is the correct answer. But if you ever get stuck, here's what I recommend doing. Take your total IV, the 250 ml, and then you just set up a conversion where you convert milliliters to hours. This is infusing at 100 milliliters per hour, so that's where this kind of conversion is coming from. And then you'll get the 2.5 hour. They may prefer that you write it as 2 hours, 30 minutes, but I think you get the point. So this is just an example of how else to use and manipulate a flow rate type question. So let me see if there's okay. I didn't have another thing. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is sometimes these questions ask you, instead of hours, it gives you the time in minutes. And so we want to know what to set the infusion rate or the infusion pump to if we have some in minutes. So go ahead and try this question here. I just want to see how you set it up and if you get to the same answer I would get. Okay, good. Yeah, you should get 360 right on the dot. So, Celia, what did you use for your numbers? How did you get the 358.2?
Um, I did 240 divided by 0.67.
Okay. Don't do that.
Okay.
Um, so what you want to do for that, because the problem is it's not just 0.67, it's 0.67 repeating, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to do is just multiply by 60.
Okay.
This will eliminate the 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 different, because I don't know like if your instructor will be like, oh, that's fine
Okay.
or not, but you can see like and you guys are starting to pick up on how specific they want you to be with your answers. Because when you set it up like this, it's exactly 360 ml.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, don't try not to do the only time that's okay is if it's like 0.25, 0.5, 0.75 when it's
Okay.
like an exact number. But if it's 0.67 repeating, because I know what you did. You did 40 over 60 to
Yeah.
calculate that hour. But then if you're going to do that, then you need to keep that number in your calculator with all that 0.67 repeating.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you said that, and I'm glad that we figured that out because I never know what someone's going to do. So, okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, thank you. Okay. So that's how that is. Um, and then you'll have different types, like, this question is very similar where you're just doing the 750 over 4, and then you would set your infusion rate. So let me go to another type of flow rate question that's going to involve a drop rate. So for this question here, um, we're going to be calculating what's called a drop rate. Now, a drop rate is just another type of flow rate. It just uses different units. So let me set the stage for you. So when we want to calculate a drop rate, and so you don't know this yet, but anytime we see this drop factor, that's an indication that we're going to be looking for drops per minute. So it's just another type of infusion rate, but using drops instead of mLs. In order to calculate that, I need to know two pieces of information. I need to know the flow rate, which is usually going to be given to me in milliliters per hour or milliliters per minute. Just depends how it's originally set up. So like this one, you can see it's at 210 ml per hour. Then you want to multiply by the drop rate, which will be given to you, and that's going to be in drops per milliliter. That information will give you what's called, I'm sorry, I meant to write drop factor. That information will give you your drop rate, and your drop rate is in drops per minute. Now, saying all that, sometimes this is the first time you're seeing it. Some of you, or you may have seen this on ATI, so you may already be familiar with this. So I'm gonna just the other thing I'll mention is if for some reason it wants you to calculate a drop rate, but it doesn't give you, or it uses the word microtubing. Microtubing tells you that the drop factor is 60. But typically the drop factor will be given to you because there's a variety of different tubing that's available. All right. So what are we going to do here? We're going to calculate the infusion rate, the drop rate. We're going to start off by where it tells us we have an IV of 500 milliliters, dextrose 5% water. It's infusing at 210 milliliters per hour, and I have a drop rate of 10, or drop factor of 10. Now, the thing's a little bit confusing is this 500 milliliters here. This is just telling me how much total IV I have. I do not need this information to solve this question. The question is asking how fast is it going? And I'm making a conversion such as going from miles per hour to kilometers per hour. I don't care if it's a Toyota Camry or a Honda Accord. I don't care what vehicle it is. What I do care about is the speed and then just changing how I'm um, expressing that. So I'm going to show you the long way, which is I'm going to take my 210 ml per hour, multiplying it by my drop factor, which is 10. If I do this, one of the ways that this question gets missed a lot is you forget to convert hours to minutes because you need to know that you're converting this to minutes. So if you do this, make sure you convert your hour to minutes. Don't forget to do that. The other way of setting this problem up that I think is a little bit easier is just take the volume and then just set the time to minutes automatically. Multiply by 10, and you'll get your answer. So when I do that, 210 times 10 divided by 60, I get 35 GTT per minute. Now, the other thing I'll mention is with drops, we can't give somebody a partial drop. They either get the drop or they don't. So if you had an answer that was like 34.45 drops, then your answer would just be 34 drops. If you had 36.78 drops, then it would be 37 drops per minute. You're going to round to the nearest whole drop. So for practice, go ahead and try this question right here, the solumedrol question, and then let me know what you get as a drop rate. Yep. Yep. And I'm pretty sure that's the same thing I got. And I think I didn't. The good news is you guys didn't get tricked because there's a tricky part to this. Yeah, good. 75. Yeah, so the tricky part is you just need to know to ignore the 200 milligrams. So sometimes that's something that gets people like kind of like try and work that into their equation. You don't need to. You just need to know 250 ml, 50 minutes, and then 15 drops per ml. And when it's already in minutes, you don't have to do any additional converting. Okay. So if it's in minutes, leave it in minutes since your final answer is in minutes. So, all right. Great job. So those are the main like new types of questions, and there's a bunch of practice here. It's on the shared OneDrive folder. Um, I have worked these out over the previous semesters, so I always just say like just these are there for practice. If you need some additional, or if you need to verify your answers, um, I may have already worked through a lot of them, so just kind of look through it. If there's something you having a specific question or you're not 100% sure on your answer, just email me your answer and I can confirm it. The next thing is there's these two-step questions. These are the next like questions that you didn't really see in 110. And these are like weight-based questions. And basically all they're asking you to do is account for the patient's weight and then calculate um, a medication to dispense. So go ahead and work through this one, and let's just see if we all get the same answer. I just, again, I challenge you to do this because it lets me feel a little bit more confident that you know how to do it, and I don't waste your time explaining to you how to do something you already know how to do. And if you have no clue what to do, just let me know that too. Good. Yeah, you should get 4.4 milliliters. And then just so everyone's on the same page, we're going to take our 68-pound divided by 2.2, and that's going to give us our kg, which is 30.9 times the 2.5. And then once we get here, this will just get us right to our kilograms or our milligrams, which is, you already know what to do with it. So you get 77.25 milligrams. So that's your order. It's just now it's a weight based order. And now you can do order over available if that's what you're used to doing. So 35 milligrams times the 2 ml. And that's where you get your rounded 4.4 milliliters. All right. So like I said, those are the main like new types of questions that you're going to see. Um, what questions do you have? Are there any that you're unsure of? Have you gone through the practice sets and feel like you are feeling pretty good? You just wanted to make sure. Let me know.
Yeah, this was helpful. I've been doing some practice stuff, but I just wanted to make sure that that I was on the right track, and I think I am, other than that one question. But I understand what you're saying about the not dividing 40 by 60 thing. So yeah, that was helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, and a lot of that is like and that's why I asked you to show me instead of just being like, well, that's wrong. Like I need to know where that's coming from because like I said, I don't know if they like if you showed your work and they saw what you did, they might be like, "Oh, okay, that's fine. That's an acceptable answer." I just don't know because I'm not the one who grades your test. So I don't
Right.
know what is considered acceptable or not. So I just want to make sure that we're getting to we're getting to the same answers and then little things like that sometimes are what cause you to miss like one or two problems and then you have to remediate and you don't want to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So that's good. I'm glad that and I'm gonna be honest with you. You probably won't even see that type of question on your test anyways. I create these and I try and make them challenging. I try and make them so they don't necessarily make sense like right off the bat. That way I'm challenging you on your ability to do the math, not just, memorize an answer.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, so I'm here. So if there's like if you want to look at your blueprint, if there's any like particular type of question that you want to see again, just let me know. Um, okay, yeah, it's in the shared OneDrive folder. So you should have received like a link, like the link how you got the link to Zoom. It should be right underneath it. It says resources, and then it says the shared OneDrive folder, and then the link to the YouTube channel. If you don't have that, email me and I will I'll reply back with it. Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, I have and some I've also had students tell me that they've tried to access that and then for whatever reason the link didn't copy over. So, but you should have my email address there too if there's ever something you need or is missing, just email me.
I'm trying to use the OneDrive, um, and it's giving me an error message. I apologize. What did you say to do if we had that happen?
What's it telling you?
It just says try refreshing the page, and I'm refreshing it, and it just says the same thing.
Okay. You can email me just to make sure like I have the you have the complete link.
Okay.
Um, just email me and I'll resend it to you just to make sure
Okay.
it opens for you.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm putting the blueprint up here just in case there's any of these types of questions that you'd like to see or work through if there's but I think I highlighted the things that are except for the metric unit ones. That might be your email. Let's see. Yep, there you are. All right. I just replied to you, Celia, so you'll see that. I'm already in it, so I don't, it should.
It worked. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's weird that it wasn't working the
Yeah.
previous way. Hmm. You're welcome. I'm glad that worked.
I apologize. I need to get off a little bit early. I've got to get my son from work. But thank you so much for your time and
Yeah,
everything.
no, you're welcome. Yeah, this is not mandatory to stay the whole time. I just like to once I've kind of covered the things I wanted to cover, I just wanted to make sure if you had any other questions. But yeah, if you run into anything else, please feel free to email me. I am available throughout the week if need be, but usually I can answer most questions via email. And if I don't hear from you, good luck on your test.
All right. Thank you so much. Take
You're
care.
welcome. See ya. Take care. You too. Take care, Ivy. You're welcome.